We all love Disney Cruise Line, but that means we have some pet peeves, things that drive us a little bit crazy. We're going to tell you about some of ours. That's today on the DIS Unlimited's DCL Show. Hello and welcome to the DIS Unlimited's DCL Show. I'm Chris Forbeck, one of the agents at Dreams Unlimited Travel. Thanks so much for joining us. So we all love Disney cruise ships, right? One of the reasons I love Disney Cruise Line is I love the people who cruise Disney Cruise Line. They're lovely. But you put a whole bunch of people together and, well, we're going to find things that people do that we don't like so much. How shall we say it? We make each other, we bother each other a little bit sometimes. We're going to talk about some of our pet peeves today. And I even went out into the interwebs. Oh my goodness, what a crazy place out there. But I found some that I thought we'd talk about as well. So we'll find some of those. And here along with me to parse all this stuff, Dreams Unlimited travel agent, Elaine Edwards. Hello, Elaine.
Hi, friends.
Dreams Unlimited travel agent and one of the people behind Dreams Spanish content site, See Disney, Federico Agar. Hello, Federico.
Hi, how are you?
And of course, we have an amazing producer, our amazing producer, Jimmy Valdez. Jimmy and Federico hi, Jimmy. Sorry, I keep forgetting to say hello to people. Hello, Jimmy.
Hello.
I'm racing along. Jimmy and Federico are going off on a Norwegian fjords cruise. I'm so jealous. So yes, this is the color of jealousy. Good to be with you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. We're going to talk about pet peeves. I know this feels a little clickbaity, but there are some things, and what we're going to try and do is talk about some of the pet peeves, but also how you can deal with those. So we'll talk about all of that. We're also got some news for you. We got a peek into the costumes that will be part of the dinner show on the Disney Destiny. But first, I'd like to tell you that this show, along with everything we do at the DIS Unlimited, DCL Fan, UO Fan, well, it's all brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. We are experts at helping you plan your magical Disney cruise, a visit to an amazing Disney theme park, your Universal adventure, even other cruise lines. There is no additional cost to book with Dreams Unlimited Travel, none. But we're going to give you insights into your Disney Cruise Line ship, your Disney park where you stay maybe, or tips for your Universal adventure. This is what we do. And by booking your cruise with Dreams Unlimited Travel, you get a shipboard credit of up to $1,000, depending on the price of your cruise. I always hear people say nothing's for free. Free money to spend on board, and it doesn't cost you one single penny. Not bad. Best way to get started, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. And as always, by way of transparency, yes, all of us, Elaine, Federico, myself, we are all Dreams Unlimited travel agents. Yes, this is what we do for our job. But we do this because we love Disney, we love Disney Cruise Line, and we want you to really have the best trip possible. Our job, both here on this podcast and as agents, is to give you information so you can make the best decision for you and your family. And as Disney fans know, sometimes us Disney fans are more critical than other people because we care about this stuff so much. As always, we hope that you book with Dreams. It allows us to do what we're doing now. If you don't, we still hope you have an amazing trip. So Elaine, Federico, I want to touch on the Disney Destiny coming out very soon now, end of November. We're going to have the first official cruise. There will be some preview cruises. And I'm getting so excited about this. But Disney gave us a sneak peek at the costumes for the entertainment that will be in the dining room. And it will, of course, have a theme of the Lion King. They all look awesome. Elaine, are you excited for this space? I mean, we have, of course, this is a space that is Frozen on the Disney Wish. It is Coco on the Disney Treasure. It'll be the Lion King on the Disney Destiny. Are you excited about this space?
Yes. I mean, this is one of the coolest things about the Wish class of cruise ships is they did something that it is a theater in the round essentially, because they have a stage in the middle and then all of the tables around it, and they are putting on a show while you are eating food themed to that show. And I just think it is so cool. The Lion King is kind of one of those, I honestly have not met a person that does not like the Lion King. I mean, I think it's kind of one of those things. If you're my age, we grew up with it, and so The Lion King is definitely very, very, very loved by Disney fans, and they just put out, like you said, this kind of sneak peek of these costumes. It looks like they did they are doing very culturally accurate, it kind of seems like.
Yeah.
The colors are definitely very muted, but they have a lot of very intricate details to them. So I think it will be very exciting.
Federico, I got to be with you as we were on the Disney Treasure for our preview cruise, and we got to experience Coco on the Disney Treasure, which I think both of us we can say we were blown away with that space. But also, it made me even look forward more to this Lion King space. I think they can do some amazing things.
I think so, yeah. And I'm very excited about the food because they did a good job with bringing Norwegian inspired and then Mexican inspired food to the other ships on those restaurants. And so I'm very excited to see if they are going to do the same with African inspired food for the Disney Destiny, which I think is going
Yeah.
to be something very different from Disney Cruise Line. But I'm very excited about the food as well. They did a great job with the other shows. Is in the Coco show with the Disney Treasure, since they will have two times that you will have dinner in that restaurant. The second one is more of a cultural homage to Mexico, and the first one is more of a Coco inspired show. So I'm also interested to see if they're going to do something like that with the Disney Destiny, um, with a more cultural thing, African inspired on the second night, if you have a second night on that restaurant. So, yeah.
Yeah, it should be really, really cool, and these costumes led me to believe that they're again following the culture. The other thing I just wanted to touch base on was I got a very kind note from Chris. He's DCL Cruising Dad on Instagram. I know he has a blog out there. I'll tell you, Chris takes meticulous notes of his trip and he shares those. It's really great, just amazing. But he reached out with some thoughts, and as if you've watched our past shows, I have questions about why at Disney Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point, the family beach cabanas out at the ship, but they're on the opposite side of the island from basically all the other stuff. If you haven't been to Lookout Key before, there's that infamous pier, which isn't as long as it looks. So you're fine. You should be fine. They have ways of getting you there, but it's not as bad as it seems. But when you get to the island, there's a tram that takes you over to the main area. It has a splash pad area. It has shops. It has that lovely beach. The adult area, billed as Serenity Bay, it shares the beach with the family beach. And I know initially people said, "Oh, that's going to be a problem." I haven't heard of any issues. It's people kind of keep to their own space. It's lovely, but there are the adult cabanas are over on that part of they're by the, and I still don't understand why the family cabanas aren't over on the other side. Chris suggested that that is in part because the family cabanas, you can actually see your kids in the water from there. There's a berm that prevents you from doing that over on the other side of the of Eleuthera. So these are the only ones that have a clear view of the beach and aren't behind a sandbar or a dune, if you will. And so it allows people to see. I don't know. Okay, I kind of get that, but it still seems. I think the other side would be a better place for those. I mean, it's lovely to have this place of the ship to be able to see the ship, but it still doesn't make total sense to me. I don't fully get it. Do you get questions about that, Elaine? People who say, "Oh, I don't want to be on that side." I had a client the other day who ended up not getting a cabana because they didn't want to have their kids separated from like the splash pad.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big, I know of, that has been ever since they released the map. I remember the day that they released the
Yeah.
map of this island and the layout of everything. And that was one of the things that everybody immediately saw. Why are the family cabanas over here and not with everything else? And I kind of am assuming it's because you could see the ship in the background, and so they're are giving the people what they want. They've got the pictures with
Yeah,
the water and the ship and that kind of thing.
it's
I
a gorgeous
understand
view.
exactly what you're saying, and that's probably a big part of it. It's probably the reason why. But it's kind of the pros and cons list. What is your preference and what is most important to you? So that's rough. I wish it would have been adult ones over there. I think it would have
Yeah,
been amazing to have those be the
and
adult
and and
cabanas.
and more. I think more quiet for the adults too. Federico, you have any
Right.
thoughts on this?
I'm sorry, I have a question because I don't have kids, and with that idea of being able to see your kids, you have kids. Would you go into your cabana and let your kids swim in the water just because you can see them far away? Because I wouldn't do that. Like I want to be with them all the time in the water, because So I don't. I'm not sure about that reasoning. I will. Completely agree with having the adult area right there and put all the families together on the other side, because on the other
Yeah,
side there's not really a separation between the adult area and the family area, so sometimes you get kids. Well, that's not a problem, but it's not like there's a wall or anything, so
right. It's not a
it
wall. They
makes
have some cones that are there that kind of separate the
yeah.
two areas. And at least every time I've been there, it's not. It hasn't been an issue. It's been really well. I don't know whether it's managed or it just happens. But it's been not been a problem. To answer your question, so my son's now 14, so I don't have to worry about it. They do have a lifeguard, and I don't know if there's. I'm trying to remember. I'll check next time I'm there. But I know they have a lifeguard who's in a kind of skidoo thing, a sea-doo out in the water watching. I think they have one on shore as well. So there's lifeguards there. Um, what it enables you to do is you can sit on your lounge and watch your kids in the beach. But the surf is also rougher on that side than it is over
Yeah.
on the other side of the island. So I don't know. I still it's a unanswered question for me, and I still keep pondering on it. And
I
I'm
mean,
sure
what
there's a
Federico said,
reason.
it's exactly true, though. I mean, my kids are all older teenagers now. I would say if they were under the age of 10, 11, 12, yeah, I would be next to them in the water the entire time.
Yeah.
That is not everybody's way of parenting. I have found out everybody has a different way of parenting. But that's my personal opinion is that yes, what
Right.
you said is exactly true. We shouldn't necessarily be enabling not being with your kids in the water, but yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. As I say, I'm sure there's a reason, and somebody at Disney, let me know why. I'd love to. I'm just fascinated by it. So anyway, still love that. Still love that spot. So, all right, let's talk pet peeves. And when I was thinking about this, I was thinking more about things that we have control over. So we spent a lot of time talking about the Wish class ships don't have where you can lap around. It's not something. It's something that's there. Nothing really we can do about it. So I was trying to think of make it less about how do we say this? It rhymes with which, so we don't want to be doing that. We want to just. I was trying to think of things that we actually have control over. So we'll see how this goes, and maybe it doesn't work, but we're trying it out. One of the things that in my pet peeves and really just disappoint. As I say, I in general love people who cruise on Disney Cruise Line. They're lovely humans, as my son would say. Um, I occasionally see somebody who is really giving a cast member or a crew member a very hard time, and it makes me a little bit sad because these people. More than a little bit sad. It feels unfair. These people are, in general, doing whatever they can to make sure you have an amazing trip and trying to make things better. And so, that just feels very unfair to me. I see it at Disney World sometimes as well, and Disneyland. So just there are those moments where you're like, you can feel your anger, you're ready. It's what inside out, and the hair is just about to explode, and you need to breathe into it and say, okay, they're going to do what they can. But I hope everyone remembers that these folks are really doing their best. Elaine, do you have any pet peeves?
So just to say, piggyback on what you said, that
Yeah.
I think a lot of people could, in many times during their trip, could say, my pet peeve is the cast members, and say that I'm annoyed this cast member didn't do X, wouldn't let me do X, stopped me from doing X, wouldn't
Right.
do whatever. I think we need to remember they're just doing their job. It is not necessarily anything personal against you. They are doing their job. They are under very strict guidelines, especially because we are at sea, sometimes international laws and guidelines and things like that. And most of them are not even from the US. They may have a different cultural background. Just lots of patience. Just if they tell you not to do something, just don't do it. Don't like.
Right.
So yes, it's again one of those things that we always say, just be kind to cast members. They're doing their job. They're just doing what they've been told to do. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, cast members. Yes, please. So yes. I will say that one of my biggest pet peeves is the um being in the adult area and
Mm.
having kids run through the adult area. Um, having, I think it's almost kind of a layered one. Is it's kind of people that maybe are not controlling or watching their kids, and the kids are running free and causing a ruckus and just doing things maybe they shouldn't be doing on the ship. Um, it's kind of a where's the line? Everybody's on their own vacation, but if this is an adult area, it's clearly marked 18 and older. So why are their kids coming in, and why are they being loud? And yeah, so that's
Yeah,
one of
on
my
some
big
of the
ones.
ships, like on the Dream class and the Magic class ships, there's an adult area, and part of it is in order to get from the forward to the midship, you have to walk through the adult area. So that's fine, and everybody understands and appreciates that. It's when people bring their kids into the and are hanging out in the adult area, and I think that's what you're saying, Elaine, right? That
Yes.
eh, appreciate that there are people who don't have kids and may want just to be in that space. And so Federico, I know you said on an earlier program that we did about the kid falling off, the girl
Yeah.
who was, thank goodness, okay, said, hey, it's not my responsibility to parent your kids. I don't have kids. And I think that's part of what my general rule around that is: if your kid isn't in danger, I'm not going to parent your kid. That's my boundary. If your kid's in danger, I'm gonna not let the kid get injured. But it's those kinds of things that I think that can be. It's a line, right? At what point do you step in?
Yeah, I mean, there's other cruise lines that have adult only. I'm sorry, adult only sailings.
Right.
Disney Cruise Line is not a family only sailing. There are adult only, and there are people
Right.
who decide, like myself, who don't want to have kids. And to me personally, I don't have a problem with kids. I have a problem with I mean, if I have a kid that is bothering me or disturbing my peace in any way, I'm not going to talk to the kid, because that's the reason why I don't have kids. I don't want to talk to them. Well, I don't want
Hey, don't talk to me,
to.
kid.
I'm gonna talk to the to their parents and tell them, listen, this is a problem, and it never happened to me with Disney Cruise Line, but I think there's there's a responsibility that you have that I decided not to have when you're a parent, and even if you're on vacation, you don't get to get vacations from being a parent, or if you do, is because you have enough money to hire people who take care of your kids.
And there are
So you
kids
have to
clubs on
be.
board a Disney ship where you can, get your
Exactly.
break.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good example. Yeah. But so yeah, I think you have to be, because when something like what happened on this sailing with the accident, this is something that is dramatic, is a tragedy, is something that is going to affect a lot of people, not only your family. And it happens with not only these extreme cases, but very, small things that could happen. So it is important to keep in mind that it is your responsibility at the end of the day, and not other people, just because they are adults, are gonna take that responsibility. And sometimes it's because, I don't have the knowledge to do that. I don't know how to
Right.
talk to a kid. I don't know how to do it in a gentle way. I don't know how to do the proper way to teach a kid how to do something. So I'm not going to take that responsibility. Like I remember having the other day on the European cruise, they I was I woke up like at 1 a.m. in the morning, and they were like teenagers who were playing around on the hallways of the
Yeah.
staterooms. They were making a lot of noise. It doesn't really bother me. It's just like I woke up being afraid because I thought something bad happened, because it was like a lot of noise. So I woke up, I went outside, and I saw that they were teenagers playing around. And they saw me, and I didn't say anything. I didn't look bad at them or anything, but they just realized that, oh, we woke up someone. It's just, being conscious that, you have to know where your kids are and what you're doing, regardless of what age they are. And yeah.
And
I
a
think,
lot of
and I
this
think
is
what
being my
Federico just said was exactly what I was thinking in my mind when
yeah.
I said that at the beginning, is that it does seem to see, for me, that is what is annoying me, is when you get into that preteen teens and they are out by themselves and running around and that kind of thing, that they may not have been told, hey, this is how you should act. And so that's kind of one of the things that I just, there are other people on vacation here besides us, and let's just be courteous to them. And, so yeah, that's
And we
kind of what I
also
had.
all understand that. I mean, my son's 14 years old. Love him dearly. He is an awesome human. The pieces of the brain just haven't all connected. So sometimes he doesn't always think and needs a little reminder. And we're doing the Disney Destiny sailing into the new year with a friend of his. And it's we're going to have a conversation when we're getting on board. Remember, this is not just your ship. Other people are here. You have to be considerate and be kind. Have a great time, but be considerate and kind. And on the parent front, I just wanted to note that 98% of the time, this is not an issue, because oftentimes there's one parent hanging out in the adult area and the other parent may be spending time with the kids. The other parent wants to be able to enjoy the adult space for the time they get to. So as parents, I'm very aware of that, and I want to be very cognizant of that. So it's kind of that, just be
I
thoughtful for other people. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say something else. Having a polite conversation with the crew members is always welcome, and they're going to be there
Mm-hmm.
for you. I remember having a family with a small kid in the adult pool area, which is deeper. I never been to the family one inside the water, but this one is deep. And they were like, well, we're with our kid and we want to be here, and we're going to be taking care of him, so why can't he be here? And he was being very polite, and the crew member was like, well, the reason is we don't have life saviors, how do you call that,
Yeah, lifeguards.
lifeguards in this area, so we're not going to be able to take responsibility for. Well, that's okay, we're going to take responsibility. Well, no, because when you're inside of the ship, everyone is our responsibility, so we're not gonna we can't allow that. And the family was super, open-minded, and well, now we understand why, and so we're gonna take him to the family pool. And just have a conversation, adult conversation with the people from Disney Cruise Line is gonna, they are ready to give you the reasoning behind the decisions that they make on why certain areas, certain things are allowed and not in others.
Another one that I saw all over the interwebs was chairs, and this is particularly chairs more around the family pools, but people who will put stuff on chairs, shoes, towels, whatever, and leave it for hours. And sometimes they'll take 6, 10 chairs. Um, Again, this is one of these things that be considerate. I mean, the chances of you needing 6 chairs is it. I mean, I have my kid that wasn't sitting with me, and so that means other people can't use those. It just feels very. Be considerate of other people. Other people may also have kids and want to be able to see. So take what you need, not everything you may ever need, and be thoughtful about those. Elaine, have you seen those? And actually, Disney Cruise Line has rules. They just don't really enforce them, unfortunately. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people don't understand, if you are a family of 4, you don't need 4 chairs. You
Right.
you really only need a chair as a place to put your stuff for the majority of people. It's truly just a place to put your stuff, maybe to sit and eat your chicken fingers and fries while you're, when you get hungry, but for the most part, if I'm with my family and we are in this type of situation, whether it's Disney or not, I'm like, okay, let's just put all of our stuff on this one chair and that kind of thing. Now, I will tell you that there are a lot of times that I just want to go down to the pool and I want to sit in the chair and I want to, as I've said many times on the show, I just need a place to fall asleep. I want to fall asleep on the chair in the sun. And I specifically remember one time that I did a few circles around and I could not find a chair. Everything, for the most part, it was just stuff. It wasn't a lot of bodies in chairs. It was just stuff. A cast member that was on the pool deck, you will know them because they're usually, let me preface, do not talk to the lifeguards. Do not ask the
Yeah.
lifeguards for anything. Don't ask them where anything is. Don't ask them any questions. Please do not talk to the lifeguards. Their job is not there to answer your questions or talk to you. Their job, they literally are required to have their eyes on the water at all times and be constantly counting the people in the water. So if you are talking to them, you are distracting them from their job that they are there and trained to do. If you have a
Yeah.
question, the pool staff is usually dressed in all white. And so one of them happened to notice me kind of looking a little frustrated because I couldn't find any chairs. And he said, "Do you need help?" I said, "Yeah, I'm just trying to find an empty chair just to sit down in." And he actually went and took stuff off of a chair and just put it on top of those kind of like wooden areas where they'll have like
Right.
towels or towel
Towels.
drops or that kind of thing. And he said, "Here you go. Here's a chair for you." So just know if you leave your stuff there for too long, a cast member may move it. And that if you need a chair, just ask them and they will assist you with finding one or getting one for you or that kind of thing. So,
It's interesting, Federico. One of the things that I've seen a lot, as I said, I was just looking at various websites about Disney Cruise Line, checking out the interwebs. Um, and one of the things that I've seen more and more written about is there's rope drop culture at the park, certainly, but we're starting to see that more on Disney Cruise Line as well, as people line up increasingly early to, particularly for things like Tale of Moana on the Disney Treasure, because they want to get those seats. Um, it it didn't used to be that way, and I feel like I'm an old man saying that, but I get it. I want to see the show too, but it's I don't know if it's a pet peeve or just a little disappointment, and it's disappointment layered with. How awesome is it that Disney is making a show that so many people want to see? So it's challenging, right?
I never had a bad experience with bad seating in the theater.
Yeah,
Like,
me
and I
neither.
come like, yeah, I make last minute decisions, and I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm gonna go to see the play again, and I have a very bad seating because it's what is left, and I always get great views. So it's not like um, other type of venues where you're gonna get an obstructed view or partially obstructed view of the theater. That's not the case with Disney Cruise Line, at least in my experience. So, I mean, if you want to get in line and you want to get a good seat, or if you want to get in line to be the first one to have your photo taken with one of the characters, Jimmy, that's fine. And Jimmy, just so you know, Jimmy is a character fan, and he's like always there. Like if we're on a sailing and you wanna know where Jimmy is, he's gonna be making line with characters, and that's fine.
Or
Like if that's your thing.
or he's in the silent disco. He's either in line with characters or he's in the silent disco.
Is Jimmy the one kicking kids out of the way so he can get a place in line?
No, he's super.
He's not. I can tell you he's not, by the way.
No. Yeah, I mean, I never had that experience of being left out of anything or any experience just because I'm late. So don't worry about it. If you are, probably you're gonna have another option to do that experience, because they usually do the same like classes or the same games at different times in the same cruise. So if you just want to be there and secure it, do the line. But if you don't, I will like you're gonna find things to do if you don't do that.
Two other ones, and I wanted to be conscious of time. So two other ones that I wanted to bring up before we, one of them is, and happens particularly in the spa. The spa is contracted out. They are not Disney employees. But there is a real tendency to upsell people. After you have your treatment, you will say, hey, do you want this lotion? Do you want this potion? Do you want this magic? I've actually, in the last couple of times that I've been on board, I've had it, they seem to have turned it down. It used to be up at like a 9.5. It seems like it's now around 6 or 5. It's a nice change, but it's just be aware. And sometimes what I will say to those folks is, I hear you. I know you get commission based on this. I'm not going to buy anything, or find a way to deal with that. And it's disappointing. And I've mentioned it on comments afterwards about the, put that in my comment card afterwards when they ask what, something that you found disappointing. Elaine, have you had this situation?
Yes. So when we were on the Fantasy, what was it, like 6 months ago, it was a 9.5 for me. I did go to get a pedicure. They were upselling me before I was even in the chair, because they were trying to upsell me on the type of polish. They upsell me on the actual pedicure itself, because I just booked just like a basic pedicure. And they're like, well, you really wanted this one, didn't you? This like upgraded one that does this and this and this. I'm like, okay. So she flipped the paper over. She had me sign it that I was agreeing to upgrade the pedicure, I guess, so I wouldn't fight the charge at the end or something. I don't know. But in every single step, you need this lotion, and I'll get it for you at the end so you can take it with you, because it's going to help you with this and this and this and this. And every single step was sold to me. And it was just after a while, I'm like, oh God, get me out of here.
This takes you out of that space.
Yeah, it's not relaxing for me. So
yeah. Federico, have you had this situation? I mean, both you and Elaine are gorgeous. There aren't enough lotions to make, I'm going to look like I look. I can't help it. But have you had this situation when you did your spas?
No. But I think that's because I'm scary, so they are afraid to. I'm like, no. No. To be honest, I'm like very not ashamed of saying which is the truth. I don't have money. I'm sorry, but somebody's paying for this treatment, not me. I don't have money, so you're wasting your time, because I wish I could. If I had the money, I will pay for it, but I can't. Like, this is way out of my yeah. So no.
It's probably
poor, maybe.
Just saying that, like, I mean, you could walk in there and say you don't speak English. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's what I do. Like, girl, I'm Colombian, so I'm not paying $100 for a bottle of shampoo. That is just not happening. Yeah.
The other one, which also seems to happen less now, is it still happens to a certain degree, but it seems to have moderated a little bit, is the servers particularly used to come and just stress that if you don't give them the top rating on the comment card for food, for all these things, that they get dinged. Now, they do get dinged if their judgment, if you do have an issue, bring it up with your servers or the team early on so they can actually deal with it. But if they don't deal with it, then you can maybe tie it to but if you haven't brought it up, it feels unfair to then ding them on it. But it used to be a fairly pressure situation, and in fact, there was now a question on the comment card. I don't remember if it's still there, but were you cajoled into making any of your ratings? So I think they've calmed down a little bit. And what I do is I always say to my service team when they start going on it, I'm a travel agent that specializes in Disney Cruise Line. I'm very aware of the importance of the comment cards. B, I've been on a lot of Disney cruises. I'll put my dollar in the bin, but I'm a Pearl Castaway Club member. I've done a lot of ships. And so I'm also very aware of that. And if I have an issue, I'm going to talk to you first. So, I think they get that people, it's not very fun. But Federico, how have you found this to be the case? What was it like on your last cruise? Did they cajole you on this stuff?
No, but I also have a strategy to do that is I don't
Oh,
go to
awesome.
the last dinner.
Here you go. Look, Federico,
Because
he has a
they
plan.
usually do that. No,
Wow.
it's just no. I remember that I didn't have that happen on the last cruise, but it was because I missed the last dinner, and that usually happens on the last dinner. But to me, it's not a problem. I think that usually I get so happy with the service that they provide that I don't have a problem with they remind me to do that, and because I know that is important for them. And and as you say, Chris, if I have a problem, which I don't remember having one ever, um, I prefer to talk to them beforehand, and then if they don't do anything about it, then I will write something. But yeah, to me, it's not a problem. I understand that for some people it may be a problem, but I don't have an issue with that, to be honest.
Elaine, have you seen that? Has that been an issue for you, or do you dodge that last night as well?
I don't dodge the last night, but I dodge the survey. I've never will fill it out because it is true. It is too much guilt and too much pressure to fill that thing out. It really is because of the pressure that the stateroom host is putting on you, that the dining staff is putting on you, and that I don't want them to get a talking to because the food was bad. Because even if you say, like, oh, I didn't like the food, your server gets yelled at about it because they should have fixed it for you and brought you something that
Right.
you did like. And so it's just like, that is too much pressure. They work too hard. I am not going to them. Do not put that on me. What I
Yeah.
will do is, if they are amazing, I seek out their manager and I tell their manager what a good experience that I had specifically with them. And I do that every single time. And no matter if it's in the dining room or if it's in Palo or if it's in one of the kids clubs, I mean, whatever it is, if somebody gives me a good experience, then I will find somebody higher than them that I can compliment them to. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's I've only had a couple of times where I've had issues. By and large, they've done an amazing job of dealing with it, and I love cruising Disney Cruise Line. So what can I say? Anything else? Any other? You guys have any pet peeves that we're just about out of time, but I wanted to make. Yeah, go.
You have a unique one that I think that probably nobody ever thinks about before they go on their cruise, but when they're in the middle of the cruise, they're sure thinking about it. Their pet peeve with whoever they are sharing a stateroom with. I will tell you, even if it is your own family, you are in a very, small space
Tight
with
quarters.
limited bathroom space, with limited storage space, and you are spending a lot of up close and personal time with them. And that it does not matter. At some point, I'm going to be annoyed with that person, and maybe that's just a me problem, but there are ways to avoid that. And I tell people this. We've talked about this. We recently did a show about booking groups. And I tell people, if you have five, just like for me, we used to be a family of five. There was two parents and there was three kids. That is a lot of people in a stateroom. Even though there are staterooms built for five people, that's a lot of people in a stateroom, especially when there is very, very limited storage. So, I mean, when I have clients come to me and they are selling and they have 2 or 3 adult children, I will say, yes, we can do this, but just consider, especially if you're on a 7-night cruise, that's going to be a long cruise. And when we are booking groups and families, I say, let me know who is supposed to be connecting rooms and let me know specifically who should not be in connecting rooms. I have families that sell together and they say, please don't put us next to each other. You can put us a few doors away from each other, and that would be great. And I personally have booked myself when I went with friends. I made sure not to do the room next door. I just need a little bit of space. So, I mean, it's just one of those things that, spend some time. If you need to go and excuse yourself and go and sit on the pool deck for a while, then go do that. If you need to go out on the balcony and read your book for a while by yourself, go do that. But it happens. So
I had the same
Federico,
thing where the client, they were like, we're doing this, but put me in the opposite sides of the ship because I don't want to be next to them the whole time.
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure.
Federico, you also had
I
one,
have one.
and yeah,
Well,
go.
I thought of a new one. I'm very shy and I'm an introvert. Surprise, surprise, surprise. And on the what's the name of that animal from Nemo or something? I just hate it. The animator palette show on the main dining where there's
Oh,
like an
animator's palette
interaction
with Crush, Turtle Talk with Crush.
with Crush, exactly, Crush.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. I think it's because of the show that I don't like it. But every time I go to that restaurant, I always get like see motion sick. I feel like awful. And every single time that animal tries to talk to me, and I just
That animal.
and my English gets worse. I remember one time I even spoke in Spanish. Like, I'm sorry, I don't speak any English, and I just speak in Spanish because I didn't want to have a conversation with me, and he knew how to speak Spanish.
I
and,
will tell you that you
and
can, if you are or you have particularly shy kids or something like that, let your server know, because they will have a crush talk to somebody else or not go. And so just be aware you can do that, and it can make everything work a little bit
that's
better.
smart.
So
I thought about not wearing like one of yours or like this T-shirt with bright colors or something that he can be like, hey, you, the guy, the dude with the yellow shirt. So
yeah.
I wear black basically when I go to the rest. But that your idea is much more smart. Like talk to them and say, please don't talk to me.
The
But
general rule with a lot of these is number one, remember we're all in this together. We're all on this boat together. We're all there to have a great time, and breathe deep. The second thing I would say is one of the things that I hear a lot of these pet peeves, and in fact, Federico was going to talk. We talked about it before, but there are people who get very anxious about online check-in or what activities they get, or this dining time, or that this particular thing. Disney Cruise Line is going to do what they can, but also realize they're also going to help you figure out, if they're not able to change you into the 545 dining, they're going to help you figure out a way to deal with that. We as travel agents are going to help you figure out how to deal with that. as always, enjoy the things you get to do. You are not going to do everything on whatever ship you're on. You're just not going to do it. So enjoy the things you get to do, and don't be disappointed by the things you don't get to do. Have a good time, and really appreciate that. I know I sound like a therapist, and live in the present, but enjoy those things. You have a great time.
You
Elaine,
don't have to be
and
the
Elaine,
first person
yeah,
on
go.
the ship.
I'm
You
sorry. Say
don't
one
have
more
to
time.
be on the ship. It just, you
Yeah,
don't. It's there. It's not going to be, you don't have to be the first person at port, and you don't have to be the first person on the ship. There
yeah.
is no difference in getting on the ship at 11:30 or getting on the ship at 12. I promise you there's no difference. So.
Yep. We'd love to hear your pet peeves, so we hope you'll share those with us, and we know that they'll be very kind. So, um, as always, we'd love for you to book with Dreams Unlimited Travel. Literally, it helps pay for what we do right here. And I'll tell you, I was a Dreams client before I was a Dreams agent, so I know the value. Best place to start, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. On the first page, you're going to select Disney Cruise. The second page will ask you your itinerary and the cruise date you want. On the third page at the very top, there's a pull-down menu. It will have all the Dreams agents. You can select whichever agent you want, or you don't have to. All of them are awesome. So if you want to select Elaine or Federico, you can select their name right from that pull-down menu. But if you want to reach Elaine outside of that, Elaine, how can people reach you?
My email is Elaine, Elaine, at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com.
And Federico, how can people reach you?
Um, at Federico at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Federico is Federico at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com.
And if you're sensing that there's a pattern, I'm going to break the pattern. I'm Chris V at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. There's a Chris. So if I'm Chris V at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. I'm also on social media, Yensid Travel. That's Yensid is Disney spelled backwards, and it's the Sorcerer and the Sorcerer's Apprentice. So that makes it a little bit easier to find. Oh, and we found I've created a different way for you to reach out to us if you want. You can leave us a message. You can do it right from your phone. You can just go to dclshow.com/message and record a message. And we've had a few come in, so we'd love to hear from you. Show ideas. If you want to leave a pet peeve, we'd love to hear that. You can reach out dclshow.com/message. And as always, a special thanks to our producer, Jimmy Valdez, Mr. Magic Dancer. And a very special thanks to you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Depending on where you're watching or hearing this, please like, subscribe, leave us a review. We've been getting a couple reviews on Apple's podcast. Really appreciate that. It really does make a difference. I know it seems somehow silly, but there are these algorithm things. I don't understand how they work, but they tell me it's true. So if you want to help us, you can do that. If you have topics or show ideas or comments, you can leave those in the YouTube comments, or you can check the DCL Fan Facebook page. A whole bunch of people talking about Disney Cruise Line. It's really cool. Or you can send a message, dclshow.com/message, or just send me an email, chrisv at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. With all that, safe travels and have a great cruise, and we'll see you real soon.